There are few things in life so great as finishing a book. Reading a book from cover to cover gives you a feeling of satisfaction that can't be replicated by book summaries or any other shortcut. However, finishing books is really hard. We often have the motivation to finish a book before we start it, only to find 30 pages in that we're either bored or disinterested. Hello, my name is Orn, and in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 tips to finish more books. Tip number 1, do your research. Before we start any book, we need to know why we are reading that specific book. Aside from being interested in the topic, we need to be aligned with the author and the language of the book. For instance, if you watch a video of an author talking about the book before you purchase it, you'll get a clear idea about whether the communication style suits you. For instance, if English isn't your first language, then it's probably best not to read a book prior to the 1970s, and also if it's translated from another language. These subtleties all contribute to your ability to finish any book, which starts before you pick up the book. Search for podcast interviews, video interviews, and articles either written by the author or about the author to get an idea about their communication style. Also, look at reviews by bloggers such as myself or others and get their feeling about whether the book might be for you. Tip number 2, know why you're reading a book. This is an extension of the previous point, but I'm just going to build upon it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't read out of pleasure, but rather know that you're reading for pleasure instead of learning. If you want to read a book on habit formation, then buy a selection of books on habits and read them knowing you want to learn something new. If you want to read a sci-fi fiction book to escape, then pick one and enjoy it. I always have 2 reasons for picking a book: interest or skill. An interest can be either fiction or non-fiction. For fiction, this might be the genre, so I like reading historical fiction particularly, and for non-fiction, it would be the subject matter. For a skill, it could be something that I'm looking to improve on, like sales or communication or habit formation. Splitting into either of these categories, interest or skill, keeps it very specific. Tip number 3, quit books. This might seem the most counterintuitive point if you're looking to read more books and finish them, but hear me out. When, not if, you come across a book you're not enjoying, you either have 2 options: quit it or persevere begrudgingly until the end. You should never force yourself to read a book unless it's for school or you have to study it, then unfortunately you're going to have to read it. If you continue to read books that you're not enjoying, you're wasting valuable time on the books that are out there that you can enjoy. I quit books all the time, either because I don't like the author's communication style or the topic isn't being explained well. If it's fiction, it's usually because the storytelling is rubbish. A good rule of thumb for me is 80 pages. If I get 80 pages in and I don't feel like I'm getting any value, then that's usually a good reason to put it down. It's important to caveat here that if you're finding a book challenging, that's not a reason to put it down. In that situation, I recommend taking your time to understand the concepts within the book. This happened to me recently when I was reading the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Quit the books you're not enjoying to free up time finding the books that are actually going to give you value. Hopefully these tips helped. If you found this video helpful, then please do like and subscribe for more content. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Before you go, I just want to let you know that every month I send out a monthly newsletter that includes book reviews, book recommendations, and author insights from my weekly podcasts with authors. The newsletter is totally free and the link is in the description below. It would mean the world to me if you did subscribe.